a little bit of trivia I found when I was doing my research too, so I'm going to hit these real quick. So the price, apparently, was $269.50, which, good God, if only it were that today. That's the equivalent of $21.20 today, $2,120. I think we all check reverb for 58s, 64s quite often. What's the cheapest you've ever seen a C58? $4,000, $5,000? It's absolutely ridiculous.
You remember when they remade all the 58s and Guitar Center had them all, and they were in thousands of dollars, and by the end you could get them for like $7.99.
Yeah, and they never sold Ricks again.
Well, it's because I think, as cool as this is, it's a rhythm guitar. Yeah. And most of the people that I know who don't do a Beatles tribute or aren't involved in Beatles music, they'll get one, maybe have it for a couple of years, maybe 5, and then they'll get rid of it.
Or it's on the wall.
Yeah, it's just like, I guess everybody reached their tolerance for 325s, and it was like $7.99, buy them all.
I'm so pissed I wasn't there at the time. I would have gotten 5.
When it comes to the 58, though, the C58 and the V59, there is a real kind of a wide gap in a way. And even from the B, from what Michael has, his headstock shape's a little bit different, everything else. So each generation kind of got better and better until the ultimate, which is the C58, technically, is the best one. It mimics it the most closely to what John had.
And they stopped making the C58 in what, like...
09.
Okay.
Which doesn't make any sense because they still make the 64.
With the horrendously dark fingerboards.
And it sucks, too, because the fact that the V63 is really almost spot on to the C64. So it's like, it's not that big of a deal, where it's like the 58 is such a different thing. You would want, want the C58, but the V59 is minimal.
Why don't we show off our 325s? This is a guitar that some of us do have, and some of us have not even played until this weekend. So I'll go first. I've got the 1982 320B. Again, this was like the very first attempt by Rickenbacker to put out any reproduction at all, and it's heavily modified, I'll just put it that way. It had the 2-tiered pickguard, it had like standard gross Rickenbacker knobs, the R tailpiece, standard Rickenbacker bridge, and like Kluson tuners, I think the ones that were on the 64 and the 325.
How thick is that guitar?
It's less than 2 inches. It's the same thickness as the 64.
I got you.
Yeah, it's not nearly as thick as the actual Lennon 325. But yeah, it plays great and sounds great, looks like shit, and I love it.
John's was like, what, 2 1/4? And then the 64 was like around 2? Is that right?
I think all the 58s were supposed to be 2 inches, but...
2, they were very thick.
Maybe I messed it up. Maybe 2 and like 1.5 was maybe what I'm thinking.
The one I made is not quite 2 inches. It's like between 1 3/4, just because it's like, again, it was like some pictures it looked really thick and other pictures it didn't, and it depended on if his coat was in the way or, whatever. And like I said, it was like at some point it was like, all right, I don't have any more time to look at pictures. I got to get these done.
That's crazy you got them done that quick.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You could do months of research now with there's too many photos available to look at.
Absolutely.
Paul, what do you got?
I think, I forget the year. I'm pretty sure it's a 96. I talked about it in my little gear video I had made, and I got a video coming out on this soon going over all the mods that I did to it. But it's a V59. Same thing like with you, Michael. I did a bunch of mods to it. And funny, Mark, great memory, because I just measured my body, and it's just a little more than 1 3/4 inches. So I do have the thicker body.
Great color on the fretboard.
Yeah, so I'll start off at the top. I did the same thing. What are they? Stat Tight, I think they're called, the Grover tuners.
Yeah, Grover.
I did that, and the fretboard. I took the, mine's had the lacquer on it. I took that off. I took that down, so it has no more lacquer on it. Which honestly, I like the lacquer board better. But hey, you got to be like John. I got to ruin the guitar. So I did that, and then of course, I took down the double tier, did the Burns knobs, the wiring harness. I got a C58 wiring harness. There's some guy that made it online. He doesn't make them anymore, and he makes them like with all vintage loom, all vintage style stuff. It's amazing. It's a great wiring kit. I got that.
Glenn's
and
loom.
then the pickups, they're still the high gains. I plan on taking them out and have them sent out and rewrapped to go with the low gain, and I'm gonna go low. I'm probably gonna go like 5.3 ohms on them all. Stupid little mod I did though. I put the flathead screws on each corner, just like how the low gains come. I got the bow tie bridge, and then the Bigsby. I put on all the hardware. Plug myself again. eBay and Reverb, $18. Buy the hardware kit.
Can you hook me up with that, Paul? Hook me up with that.
Don't worry, I got you, Dom. But yeah, I got for the hardware though. I did the flathead screws in all 4 positions, and then of course I got the Phillips head screw for the Bigsby arm hold down. The only difference is John's had a beveled. But that's it.
Did you
That's
mess
my
with
V59.
the nut at all?
The nut? No, I didn't mess with the nut. No, I left
What
it
were they made of? What's the tusk thing?
Oh, that was the J160E.
Oh, that was the J160. Never mind. What was
Ryan.
what was the nut made of on the original ones? There's some.
I think it was Bakelite.
That's right. Yeah, it was like almost like a early plastic type of thing, right?
Right.
Yeah, mine's like a plastic on this. Looks crappy.
Tom, what you got?
Me?
Yeah, you.
There's only one. So I must come clean. This is a luthier-built replica of a C58. A luthier who will not be named, but he lives across the Atlantic, who is known for making replicas of Rick guitars. It is a 1-to-1 replica of a C58, 2-inch thick body, alder body. I chose Paduke for this board, and I think it turned out pretty nice.
Yeah, lovely.
And then Ryan and Sam had not even played a 325 until Saturday.
Hold up invisible imaginary 325. There you go.
There you go.
What was your take on it when you first time playing it?
That was great. I've played them 3 times now. The first one was at Norm's Rare Guitars. Actually, technically you can... It's kind of impossible to see me, but technically I'm there as a blur in the background during one of Mark Ignisi's videos, where he's playing a Fender Electric 12. And yeah, so that was the first time I ever played, and it was a C64, I think. And I think, like Sam said, it's pretty baffling when you've never played one before how small they are. But then, like, Hold Me Tight makes so much more sense because of the pinky stretch and stuff like that.
Those riffs are pretty easy on a short scale.
I would say the best way to put it is not everybody can play the 325. If, like my dad, he had big hands, he couldn't play the 325. Basically, you have to be built to play the 325. You don't pick the 325, the 325 picks you. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, John had small hands. Who knew? Yeah.
And then I played one at D-Town Guitars in Doylestown I don't know, like a year ago. And then I played Michael's 2 days ago. But yeah, Michael's was pretty cool.
It's hard to do a windmill, like a Pete Townsend windmill with these because they're so short.
You'll hit the 5th fret with your windmill.
You hit the nut.
Yeah.
I want to say though, I love the guitar. I absolutely love my V59. I got the V63 and I got a 2014 1996 model, and I love them. I love the 3/4 scale. I love the way they play. Yeah, it's not for lead work, but for my fingers, and especially I grew up playing them. I was lucky enough when they were really cheap. I picked up mines extremely cheap when I was probably maybe 11 or 12 years old, and that's when I first started playing them. And since then, I've always loved them. They're great playing.
You know what's interesting? Just my personal experience. They suit themselves pretty well for jazz. Surprisingly.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, it's easy to do a lot of stuff on them.
I'm trying to
Stuff you
remember
couldn't
who
normally do.
other notable players are, because there's like...
John
obviously-
Fogerty.
John Fogerty,
Yeah,
right?
John Fogerty's the big one.
Morris Gibb had a 320B.
Okay, so and just on that note there, does anybody know when he put the humbucking on it?
John Fogerty.
So anyway, I should tell you a little bit about this guitar. This is a beautiful Rickenbacker guitar that I purchased way back in the first week of 1969.
Or is it earlier?
Is that sound? Is that Rickenbacker or is that Gibson?
It's pretty punchy.
So I got this guitar and I made a bunch of modifications. The main thing was I put a humbucking pickup right here in the bridge from a Les Paul Gibson guitar. So I put this on the guitar and I played it on a bunch of songs right about then. You know, Green River, Down on the Corner, Up Around the Bend.
I think it was Rick because
I think so too. I think so.
Woodstock. He played that at Woodstock.
Heck, I played this guitar at Woodstock!
Story I heard about that was that the guy who owns it has said, anytime you want to go take it on tour, take it. I'll still own it, but you can use it because everybody likes to see you, including me, play it.
Hey, Sam, what did you think about the 325?
Oh, I don't know if I've technically played a 325 still because yours is a 320, but it was amazing. Yeah, I actually played in Woodstock, New York, what I thought was a 325, and it turned out to be a 350 with a larger scale, and I was like, oh, this is totally fine. I feel very comfortable on this. But it turned out it was very different. I picked up Michael's 2 days ago, was the first time I really played a real one, and yeah, very tiny. But yours sounds amazing, and it's beat up a bit, and you actually didn't show Michael the back of yours is pretty special.
Yeah, I didn't want to embarrass myself, but Mark, you have signed the back of my 320. This is got you, got Gary.
That.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Tom Work, I think, was George at the time, and then Terry was Ringo. Still there. Yeah.
Man, that's great.
When
It's
was
like
that
15
signed,
years
Mike?
ago. It's like 2010, I think, at Soundcheck. Yeah, you guys also let me play "You Got to Hide Your Love Away" on stage. I played
remember.
your
Yeah.
famous. You remember that?
Yeah.
Got a good memory, man. Yeah, that was awesome.
Hey, you've got to hide